One of the most significant events in modern history is the Second World War, which lasted from 1939 to 1945. It was a global conflict involving most of the world's nations, including all of the great powers, organized into two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. The war was primarily fought in Europe, Africa, and Asia, but it also spread to other parts of the world, including the Pacific Ocean and North America. The causes of the Second World War can be traced back to the Treaty of Versailles, which ended the First World War. This treaty imposed severe penalties on Germany, including large reparations payments and territorial losses. The harsh terms of the treaty contributed to a sense of resentment and humiliation in Germany, which fueled the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hitler came to power in 1933 and quickly began rearming Germany, in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. He also embarked on a campaign of expansionism, seeking to build a greater Germany by annexing neighboring countries. In 1938, Hitler annexed Austria, and the following year, he invaded Czechoslovakia. The outbreak of war came on September 1, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. Britain and France, which had guaranteed Poland's security, declared war on Germany 2 days later. The war in Europe quickly became a brutal struggle for survival, with both sides committing atrocities and civilians suffering terrible hardships. The war in Europe reached a turning point in 1942, with the German invasion of the Soviet Union. The Soviets mounted a determined defense and gradually pushed the Germans back, inflicting heavy casualties in the process. In 1943, the Allies invaded Italy, opening up a new front in the war. The war in the Pacific was also a brutal struggle, with the Japanese army committing numerous atrocities against civilians and prisoners of war. The United States entered the war after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941. In 1942, the Allies launched a counteroffensive in the Pacific, beginning with the Battle of Midway. This campaign eventually led to the Allied capture of the Japanese mainland in 1945. The war ended on September 2, 1945, when Japan signed the Instrument of Surrender aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. The war had cost the lives of an estimated 70 million people, including civilians and military personnel. It also led to the displacement of millions of people and the destruction of much of Europe and Asia. The Second World War had a profound impact on the world. It marked the end of the colonial era and the rise of the United States and the Soviet Union as global superpowers. It also led to the establishment of the United Nations, which was founded in 1945 to promote international cooperation and prevent future wars. In conclusion, the Second World War was one of the most significant events in modern history. It was a global conflict that had far-reaching consequences, including the establishment of the United Nations and the rise of the United States and the Soviet Union as global superpowers. The war was a tragedy that cost the lives of millions of people and led to the destruction of much of Europe and Asia, but it also demonstrated the resilience and courage of humanity in the face of adversity.